Let's say, for instance, that on desktop only, you wanted this button to grow and kind of pulsate when somebody clicks it. However, on anything like less than 600 pixels, like on a smartphone or a small tablet, you don't want it to grow. Let's see how we can do that, and we'll wrap everything in a click event. So being consistent with the code from our previous lesson, for this particular lesson here, I'm going to paste in just the same exact code that we pretty much started off with, or we left off with. So we're going to put in the context here, and oopsie, let me put in this. There we go. And then we have to finally close this off with a final parentheses. I'm getting messy over here. That's not working because it was the opposite way. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so we passed into context, and again, we need to do the destructuring, which is the next step to gain access to is mobile and is desktop from context.conditions. Okay, so none of this is new. Previous lesson, you understood this, hopefully. And now what we're going to do is add a click event, essentially, on BTN, which is defined right here from this button. All right, and so what we'll do is we're going to put in btn.add event listener. It's going to be a click. All right, and then inside of here, we're just going to go ahead and take our GSAP. We're going to use a to method. Here, I'll zoom up, and we're going to target the button, and we're going to say scale. And by the way, it's already giving me the little hint here. One thing that you can do with these properties that we got through destructuring is we can use ternary operators within the properties themselves. And so what that might look like is for scale, since we don't want it to scale on mobile, what we could say is, or if we want it to scale less or something different, we could say is mobile, question mark. If it is mobile, then maybe we want to scale it only by a factor of maybe 1.25. Otherwise, if it's desktop, we'll say 2. Okay, let's do repeat -1, which is how you loop indefinitely, and then yo-yo true to also reverse it each time it loops. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this. We're going to go back to the browser, and we're going to see what this looks like. So here we are. It's growing twice the size because we're on desktop. And then if we come down here, oh no, it's still growing twice the size. Nothing changed about this animation despite us being less than 600 pixels. If we refresh this, look, it's only growing by 1.25. All right, and we come back out here, and it's still growing just by 1.25. Why is this not working properly? Well, the reason is because when you add a tween, whether that be through the timeline or just a simple GSAP to tween like this, or from to, and it's inside of a click event, for instance, or any other type of interactive event, maybe like a hover or something, or a mouse out, mouse over, it does not get recorded in the context, okay? So in order to get this to work properly, if you have these responsive considerations and you want things to adjust appropriately, then what we have to do is we take this animation right here that we just created, we'll copy it, and we're going to add it to the context. And the way you do that is simply say context.add, and then we give it a name, the animation has some sort of name. I'm going to say grow BTN in camel case, and then we're just going to simply paste it. Just like that. Then what we can do is we can say, for instance, BTN, let's first go ahead and do this. We're going to say if is desktop, for instance, and then we can add BTN, add event listener. We're going to say on click, and this time we simply just call context dot and then the name that we want to add. So grow BTN. Okay, so let's save this and let's see how it reacts now. So if I refresh this, we hit it, it's going to behave exactly as it did before. However, if we drag it in, notice how it stops. Now if we click this, if I right click, we click this, we could see it's not working because we did wrap this in or within an if is desktop right here. All right, so because we're not on desktop, it's not even going to work at all, which kind of throws this whole thing off right here. So we could just also remove this if statement. And if I click this, it's going to be 1.25 in terms of growth versus I click this over here, it's going to be 2, a factor of 2. So if we go back here, we click it, there you go. So now we have our responsive consideration working quite well here by adding it to the context, our animations. All right, so that's just one caveat I wanted to dedicate this lesson to because obviously you're going to have you're going to have animations that occur based on interaction. And if you have responsive considerations for those, you need to add those to the context just like this.